PBMs are robbing you day in and day out, making you work for below-cost reimbursements. Billion-dollar corporations hurting hard-working independent pharmacy owners as they line their pockets and put so many of you out of business. And now it's happening with so many pharmacy software vendors that have sold out to billion-dollar hedge funds. Are you truly happy with your pharmacy software vendor? Is support what it used to be, or you find yourself waiting on hold? Are your issues resolved in a timely fashion? When is the last time you took a look at the bill from your pharmacy software vendor? Perhaps it's time for a change. Visit our website at www.datascanpharmacy.com and give us a call at 1-877-222-7979.
It's the podcast that shakes and stirs up pharmacy. Welcome to PBM on the Rocks.
So let's see. My first interaction with Mark Cuban, a funny story. He had given my brother, who's a police officer, tickets for him and his grandson to go to a basketball game like years ago. And I had a question that I wanted to get to him. And so I remember calling my brother and I was like, hey, do you still have Mark Cuban's email? And he was like, I don't know, let me see. And so he gave it to me. And it was like the simplest email in the world. And I was like, this will never I mean, it was. And so I was just like, let me just take a shot in the dark here. I sent him an email. And then next thing you know, like, bam, he responded. And I was like, this is unbelievable. And then the conversation ensued, like the most down-to-earth guy, and conversations, just continued since then. It was fun, interesting, and impressive that this guy, answered the email himself.
I was going to say mine was over X when he decided to tweet out that the Minnesota PBM bill sucked. And I was like, damn it, that's my bill. And I was like, how do I get in touch with this guy to be like, dude, this doesn't make sense at all. Like, what are you even saying? And I was like, Brandy got me hooked up with him, and I asked him the question, and he didn't respond for like a couple hours. And I was like, oh my God, like he's not saying anything, like what's going on? And I didn't realize that there was an NBA playoff basketball game going on. And immediately after the playoff basketball game ended, boom, Mark Cuban on there. Like, this is why I said that. This is why I said that, blah, 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 blah. And we had a really good conversation. And I was like, man, that was cool. Like, he actually just was a normal dude, right? And just responded. It was cool.
Yeah.
Minus the fact that I had to answer a bunch of questions from reporters about why my PBM bill sucked, and I had a bunch of pharmacists calling me, saying, "Hey, why does our PBM bill suck? I thought you worked on it." And I was like, "That's not. It doesn't suck. He's not talking about that."
It was only a stake to your heart. It's fine. It's fine.
Murdered me. I was like, "No way."
Yeah.
But then I thought he actually responded back, I guess.
Yeah.
That was nifty.
No, we met Mark in DC, and it was awesome. He went off on Bill Cassidy from Louisiana because Bill was saying some wild stuff about PBMs. And it was at a PBM conference. And I don't know if Cassidy knew that it was not really pro PBM. It was like Transparency RX, and it was like a private breakfast meeting. And yeah, Mark was just talking about drug pricing and stuff. And I guess Bill Cassidy had something about like eggs in a basket. Mark's like, no, don't put any basket. There's a whole thing. It was awesome. So, it was all professional, but they were going back and forth, and I was just like, wow, this is amazing.
Is it really exciting? You were like, hey, email Mark. And I was like, okay. It's as simple as that. Like, you think it'd be like just the way I am, and be something like something blew up on Twitter when we were doing this. No, first interaction was literally Brandy just going, email Mark. And I went, okay.
Then he just gets back to you like a normal dude. Like, it's awesome.
Yeah. Looks like Mark has joined us. Welcome, brother. Welcome.
Hey.
What's up, my guys and girls? How's everybody doing?
How's it going?
Hey, doing good, man. What are you up to today?
Just another day in paradise, not doing much, washing the car, mowing the lawn. No, just working away.
You got a push mower. You got a push mower, right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. all
Yeah,
8
yeah,
acres,
gotta-
right? That's all I
Gotta get the
say.
steps in. Gotta get the steps in.
Exactly.
Well, hey, thanks so much for joining us. We're really excited to have you on. We were right before you joined, we were just kicking around like our first stories about interactions with you, which is.
And I
which is-
apologize to all of you in advance.
Thank you. I've been waiting for that.
You got it.
You know, one of my questions is, we were chatting about how so many people are inaccessible, and they have gatekeepers and all of this, but you're not like that.
Well, you'll get my
And-
bill in a minute. It's not free.
But you're really accessible, and to me it seems like you can speak to so many things that are going on in your world because you do have your finger on that pulse, and you make sure that you're in the conversation, not someone else.
Yeah, for sure. That's the only way you learn. And plus, I'm so OCD, right? When I get into something, I really get into something, because I'm just curious, right? I just like to
Right.
learn stuff. And, little did I know when I got into, healthcare and pharmacy in particular, oh my God.
Yeah.
There's so
Right?
much
You've come,
shit
you've
in this
come to the right
industry.
place for that.
Yeah, no shit, right? I mean,
Dude.
there's just so much shit going on in this thing. And everywhere you turn, they're bad guys. Like when I was, when I owned the Mavs, I could pick on the refs and everybody agreed the refs are good guys, but, had bad moments.
Right.
Now, there's nobody who thinks, the PBMs and the insurance companies are good guys ever. It's just a
Right.
different world.
It's
like
pretty wild whenever you think about like what actually happens in the pharmacy world. And I mean, there's the smoke and mirrors and like all of this hidden stuff. And
Yep.
I mean, you have literally dug into it and you've exposed a lot of things. I mean, just even recently, I know Jeremy
yeah.
was looking at the Hunterbrook article.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's the
And
thing.
then
Is
the-
like that's one thing I wish they would have went into is like there's a glass ceiling for anyone trying to do disruption in the PBM space because they got to go through these GPOs, the rebate aggregators, to get access to brands for their clients. And
Yep.
if they disrupt too much, they'll just get cut off. And you've experienced that kind of thing. How do you shake that up? Like,
Well, it doesn't happen overnight. Like to your point, Jeremy, 95% of rebates are negotiated by 3 companies. And
Yeah.
those 3 companies are the rebate GPOs of the big 3. And they'll tell you, and they mentioned in the article from Hunterbrook yesterday, that they'll tell brand manufacturers, if you deal with Cost Plus, if you do this, this, or this, we're going to take your portfolio and we're going to diminish it on the formularies. And it's going to cost you tens of millions, if not more, in revenue. And they look at us and say, we like you, Mark. We agree with you, Mark. But I ain't dumb. I ain't cutting off my nose to spite my face. And, and then when you trace it back further, it's the same shit that the insurance companies that own them do. And you see the same type of games that they play with independent physicians, same way they treat independent pharmacies. They're one and the same. The way they, add fees and mischarge and underpay and sue and all that stuff. It's all, insidious between the insurance companies and the PBMs. But to your question, how do you deal with it? You go to every CEO. And it took me a while to pull the pieces together because I'm a sales guy at heart. That really, I had to understand the insurance side of the game first and how that's played. But once I sit there and I say to a CEO, what's your deductible? You personally, Mr. CEO. And it's typically $1,500 to $2,500. I'm like, let's just say you have to take Eliquis. The retail price of Eliquis is $600. And when you pay $600, $300 of that, give or take, is a rebate.
Mhm.
So effectively, when you're in your deductible phase, you have to pay the full retail price, and $300 of what you pay is going to the PBM. They're going to keep 10 or 20% of it and then give it right back to you. That doesn't make sense, but let me tell you what's worse. Instead of you, the CEO, having to do it, what if it's somebody who's really sick? And during their deductible phase, they're buying a drug that has a 50% rebate, where they're trying to. Your PBM, that's supposed to be the best in the world at negotiating prices and saving you and your members money, is charging you full retail price. And if your members or their family members can't afford the full retail price for an important drug, they ain't taking it. And it's your poorest and sickest employees that face the most risk. The person who makes $40K, that now needs the same drug that they charge you the same amount as they charge him or her, right? And they can't afford it because they're paying full retail price in the deductible. And if they save up their money and can afford it, and let's just say it's a life-saving drug that if they don't get it, they die or they end up in the hospital, right? They're using all the cash they have left in their savings to pay for this because the PBM you hired couldn't get a better price than retail. And oh, by the way, half of that, give or take, is going right to you to put in the company bank account.
Yeah.
So your sickest employees are funding all those rebates that you're putting in the bank. And then somebody from HR speaks up and says, well, we use it to reduce the price of premiums. First of all, that's the great lie, that always told. No, you don't. But second of all, let's just say it's true. So you're taking your poor, sickest employees and using them to subsidize the premiums for you, and your executive team. And then I start bringing up, do you know what the ERISA rules are in terms of fiduciary responsibility? Then their face starts to drop. Then they look at the HR person and they're like, is this true? Yeah, well, but this is the way it's always been, right? Then I'm like, okay, let's just tell you the steps you have to take to see just how badly you're getting ripped off.
Yep.
And
those HR people like to go on their fun little trips that the
exactly. And so do the consultants, right? That they pay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I'll say to them, here's a test for you. And I did this for a company and with about 10,000 employees, 15,000, I think, members. And I said, go to your PBM and just ask for your claims.
Yeah.
Just ask for all your claims because you want to audit them to see if you're getting the rebates you're supposed to. Right. And I'm like, before you answer that, when do you pay for your pharmacy? Oh, we pay weekly. And when do they write the checks for the rebates? Oh, quarterly to every 6 months. Hello. But let's get back to claims.
And first, see if you can talk to a real person, eh?
Oh, yeah. But I can even deal with AI. I think I'd rather deal with AI than a real person.
Right.
That's sometimes.
Because at least they'll try to tell you that it'll try to be truthful. But I'm like, go to your PBM, ask for your claims. And then we'll talk again next week. So we talk at the end next week. I'm like, before you even answer, they offered you a subset, a few thousand claims, right? How'd you know? And when you said you wanted to audit, they said, we have a list of people that you have to use. Yep. How did you know? Right? Because I know they're ripping you off. Let me just tell you something with the CEO right there on the Zoom. I'm like, I've stood in front of, I can't tell you how many HR CFOs and CEOs. And I've asked how many people have audited their PBMs. And a bunch, right, are smart enough to do it. And I'm like, how many of you have ever been overpaid? Nobody ever raises their hand. How many of you have been paid the exact amount that you would earn? Nobody ever raises your hand. How many of you were underpaid by 10%? Keep your hand up if it's 20%. Keep your hand up if it's 30% or more. So to go back to your question, the way you change it is by going into CEOs and you say to them, your healthcare costs are just going straight up. You're trying to figure them out. And I'm telling you, the problem isn't the cost of care as much as the fact that you're getting ripped off.
Yeah.
And when you tell them that, they all look right at the CFO, the HR person, the benefits person, whatever it is, and like, let's do this. Let's go do the claims thing. Let's try to add them to the network, et cetera. And that's how we get change, because it won't happen overnight, but there's already millions and millions of lives that have switched to the pass-through PBMs who are getting bigger and bigger. And what I always try to tell that CEO, healthcare is about trust. If you put your trust in your consultant, and based off of what I just told you, should you have listened to that consultant? Is that the right consultant for you? No, obviously not. Healthcare is based on trust. You put your trust in your PBM to negotiate these prices, and they can't negotiate a better than list price for your deductible phase for every single member. Should you trust them? So let me give you and by the way, on your RFP, let me take a peek at it, because I already know they're going to say only use a PBM that's been in business at least 10 years and has at least one customer with 250,000 lives.
Yep.
because
Oh, yeah.
that's how they exclude everybody that will deal honestly with you.
Yeah.
And then you can, when you call your consultant, you just have to be careful they're not on vacation from one of the events that the PBM or insurance companies or brokers through.
Right.
So
Let me
there's
ask
a
you this:
path there.
what percentage of the CEOs that you talk to actually take your advice?
Yeah.
And do
About
this? Like,
90%.
what it's?
About
How many?
90%. 90%.
Nice.
Oh yeah. Oh really?
Yeah,
That's
because
good.
here's what happens.
All right.
So the first years when I was doing it, and I didn't have a grasp, I couldn't like throw it in their face quite as hard. I typically back then it was like, just try to add cost plus to your network. Here's our price list, and just use us as a benchmark. And if we're cheaper, you tell them to buy from us. Well, obviously they don't add us to their network, and but what would happen is they would reduce the price of something. They would increase the rebates or do whatever. Then the second year, same thing, a little bit more, gave them some more examples, started using the claims. And so by questioning the PBMs in those deals or the insurance companies or brokers in those deals, they got better pricing. But
Yeah.
now,
Then they got fees.
3 years, 4 years now later, that's not enough because prices just keep on going up. They're trying to figure out how to deal with GLP-1s. I'm telling them, and you guys should tell any employee that's self-insured that you ever deal with, you can write into your contract that if we buy cash out of network for anything, an MRI, a doctor, whatever it is, it has to count towards our members' deductibles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you can write that into the contract. And when they hear that, it's like, okay, now I tell them there's no way the PBM or the insurance company is going to say yes to that, right? But you've got to ask for it because if they say no, that tells you they don't really want your business. And that's what's led to them starting to move. And you've seen Apple move away from the big three. You've seen Lilly move away from the big three. You've seen Genentech move away from the big three. 7-Eleven move away. And these are all companies we've talked to.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And commercial and employer plans, I mean, they're the cash cow for them. And I mean, these companies, they don't even know. They don't know. And there's going to be something coming out on that, hint, hint. But they're able to move money around so much, it confuses them. And it's hard to even blame the CFO. It's hard to blame anyone for not understanding that.
And that's what I tell them. I'd like, it's not your core competency to know this stuff.
Right.
But let me just tell you this. The biggest insurance company in the country has 2,600 subsidiaries.
Yep.
Their intercompany transfers last year were $161 billion. That $161 billion is 0.5% of the GDP of this country.
That's insane.
That's the same company that thinks a 5-cent dispensing fee covers our costs.
Right? Yeah. I mean, at least they're giving you 5%, right?
No, 5 cents.
I mean, 5 cents. Yeah.
5%, I'd kill
take
for
5%.
5%.
Yeah, 5%. Y'all would quit.
There's a reason my pharmacy's closed now. I wouldn't get no 5%.
Barely covers the
Amen.
transaction fee
Amen.
they put on the back end.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
And the
exactly.
clawbacks, the good RX, all that shit.
Yeah,
The best part is CVS. Now they give you a 34-cent dispensing fee and then immediately take it back in a 34-cent DIR fee. Like
Right.
Really,
Yeah.
they literally offset it directly.
right
Oh, yeah.
on your
Sometimes
phone,
it's
you can
more.
see.
And they got to put the DIR fees up front at the start of the year, right? But they'll
Yeah.
still hit you with the 34 cents right on the invoice or right at that time.
No, it's like on the claim when we run it, it'll say 34 cents for your dispensing fee. And on that exact same claim screen, it says minus 34 cents DIR.
I didn't think they were allowed to do that anymore. I didn't think they could
Yeah,
do
as
it.
long as they're showing it up front. The
As long as
DIR
they're doing
fees
it up
go
front.
away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if it's at point of sale.
Yeah.
So, but now
Yeah.
they also get to say they're paying a dispensing fee, right?
You got it.
So-
Correct. Yep, nailed it.
You guys got
The point of
post
sale
those.
thing was
Post
one of
those
the
and
worst
tag me.
things that could have happened.
Yeah.
It was a huge hit to cash flow on top of the fact that they're able to hide it easier because at least when it was taken out on the back end, people were a little more aware of it. Now it's just like, unless you've got it programmed in to calculate what your DIR is going to be, a lot of times you're just not going to see it.
Right. You're just going to get. Well, let me ask you guys a question. Pharmacy is the only industry where the wholesalers buy at retail.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, find me any kind of widget or anything that's produced that starts at its highest price, and by the time
Right.
it gets to the end consumer is zero.
Right. I mean,
Literally no other thing
Imagine
works
like
like
your grocery store and you buy Pringles at the list price. And then after you sell your Pringles, you get a rebate. And then if
Right.
you don't get enough rebates, you have to pay back more. And if you do get enough,
Right.
you get a little bit. It makes no sense. And the manufacturers know that, right?
And the Pringle benefit manager charges you back later too.
Right. And,
PBM.
yeah. And so, they know it's a mess. And that's one of the reasons they're doing the direct to consumer stuff. And I know that's not necessarily great for you guys, but
It's not great for patients either. You've got polypharmacy issues. You've got everything. Like it's not great for anyone in the end. And it's really just one of those Band-Aids. It's kind of like GoodRx. It was just one of those things that they were taking advantage of a system and the holes in it. And
Exactly.
it's not going to really fix anything. It's just another workaround when we have to actually address the rebate issue. We have to address the PBM issue.
So what I'm telling you is the underlying fundamental issue for you guys, from my perspective, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that everything's based off of WAC, because that kills your cash flow minute one. If
So our
Eliquis,
purchasing is based off of WAC. Here's the problem, though. Our reimbursements are based off of AWP,
right,
Yeah.
which is just a BS number.
right,
made-up number.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
because that allows them to say we're cost-based reimbursement. Right.
Yeah.
'Cause
Oh my God.
or they'll
geez.
use NADAC, right? Or they'll use
Yeah.
NADAC, right? And say it's a cost-based reimbursement, So we're just like Cost Plus, because when I talked to Patrick Conway, he was like,
Oh.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're doing cost-based reimbursement, right? And I'm like, you're so full of shit,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And-
That motherfucker. You want to see some fucking claims under?
Yeah. I
do.
Don't worry. We've got plenty.
Yeah.
I do, because I'll send it to him, right? Because
Okay.
I'm happy
Yes.
to call them out. But hear me out. You guys should take all the put members, go to Doug Huey and all those guys. I like Doug a lot. His heart's in the right place and he's smart. And start saying, look, we want to go in mass away from these PSAOs. And you can either do something yourself and put something together and go to Morris Dixon, but also go to the manufacturers. Because the manufacturers don't want you guys to go out of business. You're the last 5 feet that can be the difference between life and death for their patients. And they know it. But
So you think if we have like our national organization go as a representative for all of these community pharmacies and say, hey, manufacturers, let's deal.
yes, you might not get it minute one, but you can say to them, look, we're just like the CEOs of these companies that the PBMs are ripping off. We're starting to have the same look at the business we do through PSAOs.
Yeah.
You guys are doing it because that's the way you've always done it. Are you using
So I think
software?
a lot of-
Do you use the software from the PSAOs?
To be,
No,
No.
I don't.
but
No,
to be fair,
unfortunately,
like
we do so many software through like Red Cell or some shit, which is nickel and diming everyone at this point.
Well,
Through who?
McKesson
Through Red
owns
Sail?
Relay.
Through Red Cell, like if you got Pioneer or a bunch of other software companies, they nickel and dime you. Even if you're just running like a cache thing to like ping it off, nope, they're going to charge you for it. Like you had a private equity company, Red Cell, buy up a ton of the software vendors in this space, and it has caused a huge issue where they're nickel and diming everyone, and it's become incredibly expensive to use processing software.
So they got to have
because
some.
of that.
They got to have some competition.
Well,
Yeah,
they do.
there's only a few
only
left.
there's only a couple of truly independent software companies. One is DataScan. They're one of our sponsors.
DataScan's
for this
awesome.
podcast. Fantastic. Still like privately owned, and their prices are the best.
So why doesn't
He does.
everybody use DataScam?
Well, a lot of these
Scale.
companies, you get locked into these contracts, and you're locked in for a number of years.
How many years typically?
So between 3 and 5, and
Okay, not great.
like I had one that just renewed. I didn't even know it was renewing, and I was ready to I was like, all right, I'm going to DataScan, and all of a sudden I was like, wait, what?
So
This-
that's where. So we need to start going after, just like we go after the PBMs. All these back office things that are fucking you guys over,
Yeah.
we need to start attacking them as well. And
Yeah.
you need to start getting me that information so I can talk shit about them. Anybody who's fucking with you guys, I'll fuck with them.
Hell yeah.
Because that's all
Well,
I
that's
want.
fun.
You fuck with my
Everybody
boys.
fucks with us.
You fuck with my boys.
You're going to fight everybody.
I'll fight with them
It's a
all. I
long
don't give a
list, Mark.
shit, right?
Yeah,
But
right.
the underpinning of this is you need a wholesaler that, at least for now, you can trust.
Like every day when I order, I'm shopping 5 or
Yep.
6 different,
Wherever it
different-
is, right? And soon you'll have AI agents that'll do that shit for you, right?
Yeah.
And it'll get better, but you can't be locked into Red Sale or whoever because all that stuff is inevitable.
Right.
All
right.
of it. Like I just used because I'll track our prices versus other places, right, to see make sure we're still lower. And so I just got Claude, this AI app called Claude from
Oh yeah.
Anthropic.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And I used to write
like Claude.
software, but oh my God, I just said, okay, here's my price list from Cost Plus Drugs. Take the top 25 because this was just a test I was doing yesterday, and go out to all these different sites and tell me where I'm more expensive and where I'm less expensive and how much. It took 20 minutes for it to write the app,
Yeah.
and it works.
It's insane.
I was like, it's insane.
Can
It's
you
insane.
send it to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like-
So
Use that.
AI has its uses.
there's this thing called agents in AI. And what agents do is grunt work. And so there are 1,000 things that if you had the time or had somebody you could afford to have the time that would look at invoices that you know are going to be off by 3, 5, 10, 20 cents. And in aggregate is probably $1,000 a week or a month, but you can't take the time, right?
Yep.
That's what agents do. So
There's actually companies that are trying to do more in the AI space here in pharmacy, like pharmacy.
you don't need a company. You
like-
don't need a company, right? All I'm telling you is if you find a local college kid that wants a part-time job that's in computer science and you ask them, can you write AI agents? And I'm going to show you all the shit that I hate to do that costs me money, that I don't have
I
enough
love
time
it.
to do. And you have them come in and explain and write an agent until they get it right. Because you can pay them $20, $25 an hour and let them burn through time, right? Or tell them, if you make this work, I'll give you $1,000, right? Because it'll pay for itself in a heartbeat. And that
Yeah.
For
kid
me,
will
it's reconciling my claims. I reconcile all my own claims, and I spend so much time. There's companies that'll do it, and I'm like, I'm not paying you to do it. Forget it.
that's the stuff an agent does, right? You just take a picture of the invoice, compare it to the other stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And Claude can write that shit in minutes,
love it.
And so
It's insanity. It really is.
And the point is, it's changing so fast. This is just the beginning. So don't think of AI as ChatGPT. Think of AI as somebody who does all the grunt work or does all the grunt work that you can't afford to hire somebody for. And because you can't afford to hire somebody for it, like every entrepreneur, you think to yourself, okay, this Saturday I'll get to it. I'll mow the lawn, do whatever, and I'll get to it, right? Or I'll go do the shopping and then I'll get to it. And then you never do. And then it's like, damn, okay, next month I make sure this can't happen again. And I'll try to come up with something. Sound familiar?
Yeah.
Yes. You're kidding.
I have lived that shit. I have lived that.
All the time.
So here's a question for you too, Mark. So what do you see as potential pitfalls of this AI transformation? So I mean,
in general or for what we're talking about?
well, either like
Like for what we're
let's start
talking
with what we're
about,
talking
zero.
about. Yeah.
Zero. There's no, it's like having your own little, your own little robot. If it's not even a robot, your own little spreadsheet that
Right.
does its work itself. Like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
spreadsheet that thinks for its that and it's not even that they're thinking.
Like entering the formula into an Excel sheet, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden you've got the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It really
it's just-
is. It is grunt work. It is straight
All
up grunt
grunt
work.
work.
If you
Think
trust
of
it for
AI
that, it's good.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you think of
Is it
AI for
something that-
grunt work, great.
Okay.
My pharmacy software can type scripts. You can click a button and hit activate with AI, and the AI will type the script up for you. It can't calculate day supply very well, but I mean, it actually takes the paper off like a fax prescription, from another pharmacy or somewhere. Those are so hard to read and grainy. It does pretty
Yep.
good on that.
Yeah, and it's the same thing, right? It takes a picture of it, right? Or it takes the output of the fax software, whatever it may be, and then it just runs it through, reads it, tells you what's on it, compares it to what it's supposed to be, writes up the claim, tells you, all the stuff you need to know. Now imagine that for all the grunt work shit across the pharmacy.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
even if it picks up $1,000 a month, $5,000 a month, that's real money.
Are you kidding? For us, that's like everything.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
There's
the
no
whole
money.
thing. And all I'm saying is find a local computer science graduate because they're having trouble getting jobs at big companies, right? Because big companies already have people that can figure this stuff out because that new graduate was going to be the kid that did all the grunt work. But now they have the AI people at the big companies that figure out how to write the agents for the grunt work. But the small to medium-sized companies, you guys don't have the time to learn this shit to do, and don't have the time to do the grunt work. So that's where AI, agentic AI is what it's called, is perfect for pharmacies because you have all this data. And then you can get that person to say, okay, do an analysis of, more sticks and prices, get all this, you got to call them and get all the information to put in, what we're paying the big three wholesalers, what it ends up costing us in other fees and everything. Because they know you don't have time to do the math.
Right.
Yeah.
And
they rely on that.
they rely on that. And when somebody relies on confusion, they're stealing from you. Because otherwise they would simplify it to make you more productive, because if you're more productive, you can go out and sell more and do more, which turns into sales from them.
Yeah.
What does
Well, if
Antonio
there's any college
say?
students
Where
out there
there's-
listening, I will
where
give
there's
you
mystery,
2
there's
ramen noodle
margin.
packs out of my 8-pack every week.
You're a good man.
to help me out.
Okay, so I have a quick question.
Sure.
Is there one thing that whenever you talk to small business owners, or let's say pharmacies, for example, is there something that you consistently see that is like a red flag and you're like, if I could tell them all to do this right now, even if it's really hard, I see this and this is a problem that I continuously see happening?
Just what I told you guys, working at PSOs that are owned by wholesalers is number one.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And just thinking, because you're so scared on every claim that because you're getting under reimbursed on brands and aren't getting any type of fill fee, that you need the biggest discount. And because of that, it makes you ignore all the other shit that adds up that more than compensates for what those extra couple points on WAC are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
That makes sense. So,
because it's like, don't look over here. Let's pay attention to what we're making out to be the meat and potatoes. And you guys don't have the time to do the math like we just talked about. And so that's why I've gone and made such a big deal of pushing away from WAC to net. And if pharmacies got out of the PSAOs, because the PSAOs, the wholesalers need you, they need that volume, and they're so afraid that they're buying up like oncology practices. So to force, right? To force, those clinics to buy, these specialty meds from them or, injectables, etc. And so they're gaming you guys just like PBMs gain the companies, the plan sponsors. And so you've got to get away from that. So you have to ask, whenever I always try to restart my companies all the time. And what I mean by that is if I were starting all over today and could start from scratch, what would I do differently? How would I approach things differently? And I think particularly as new technology comes along, because if you guys have been in business long enough, there was a time when, you didn't really use the internet. Oh, I don't didn't need a website, right? You didn't really use, you didn't use this, and this, or didn't have these apps. You didn't have SaaS apps, all that stuff. And then you did. And then you got stuck with them for a while, but nothing's really changed for you guys. Some things have been automated, but it's all the same shit. And then there's just so much shit coming at you in terms of nickel and diming you for fees.
Oh, crazy.
It's crazy, right? So now is the time for you guys to say, let's just start from scratch.
Yeah.
Here's
what do I have to do?
Is there's a lot of pharmacies out there that have done exactly everything that you've said, and they're still failing. And right now,
there's a lot of pieces to that, right? So there's a lot of pieces. So let's just say you're able to optimize all the processes in your pharmacy, and you're using agentic AI to do all the shit that drags down your time. Now, all of a sudden, if you create 10 hours a week, which is near impossible, I know, and half of you is going to want to work the counter, or do some other things to try to use that time. But if you can find that time to go outside the shop and go to small businesses and go to network and go talk to them, and particularly if you're in a state that allows you to take cash pay and apply it to your deductible, like Tennessee, Texas, Indiana, and others, then I'm going to small businesses and saying, look, here's, I know you have a Matnib or whatever, specialty generics, right? I know that you guys have some Stelara patients, right? Let me get, hopefully through Cost Plus Marketplace, Stargemza, the new Stelara biosimilar that we sell for $360. And I can save all this money. It doesn't matter if you're whether you self-insure or whatever. If you have a member, out of your 150 employees and it's costing you this amount of money, it's costing you $3,000 and you can get it under $400, just come through me and I'll do all the paperwork for you. And you get to mark it up what you want it to be,
which is less than what they're paying.
Yeah.
Right. If you're away, right, when they come to the counter and you see what their copay or co-insurance is, then you can walk out the door to them and say, look, I'm calling you because you're overpaying or your members are overpaying in co-insurance for these specialty generics. Let me just sell it to you direct. And here's how you have it offset in your deductible and the paperwork for it. Right. Or it's going to save you money just by being under the co-insurance amount anyways. When you free up time, now you can be an outbound salesperson that's really, helping people understand their own benefits, because that's the disconnect right now. Like I get out there to big companies and help them understand their benefits and try to educate them so they make the right moves. You guys should be doing all the small, medium, and potentially even bigger companies that are in your communities that are getting ripped off, and you already have relationships with them. You just don't have the time to go out there and explain it all to them.
Which goes back to your trust philosophy too, especially in our smaller communities, right? Good point. I like it. I like it.
So you want to do all these things because the more time you free up, to go out there to do face-to-face.
Yeah.
Because most of those companies don't have an HR benefits person. They may or may not have an HR person. Right. They're just like you. Their business is just like yours. All the issues that you face in terms of the cost of other stuff, put aside pharmacy, they face when it comes to their benefits and pharmacy. Mm. You may be able to go work with a local clinic, emergency clinics, or local rural or whatever hospital and say, look, if you don't have your own internal pharmacy, let's work together because I'm going to save your folks money and you're going to look better.
So I once had a really successful business guy. He told me one of the keys to his success was to figure out how to set up his current company so that he could be an absentee owner, which kind of speaks to like what you're saying. Yeah. We're so involved in like all of the day-to-day stuff. And it seems like we have to start finding a way to get ourselves out of that. We have to be there every single minute.
The hardest part about growing any business, pharmacy or otherwise, is as you grow, making those determinations of when to hire somebody and when to fire somebody and how to hire somebody. And particularly in your business, because there's a very high level of expertise that's required for everything back of house. Right. And the harder the back of house is, the harder front of house is. Because you don't have the time to be an expert. And as much as you want to sell more toilet paper and tchotchkes and, candles, or whatever.
We don't make any money on that. They think that we're going to like make it up in these. And that was been their excuse for years. They'll make it up in like candy sales. Fuck you. You think me selling Snickers is going to make up for my fucking $100 loss on your GLP-1?
Do you guys how does front of house work for you guys?
It just goes through the software.
It's a traffic driver. It's your add-on.
But I mean, in terms of making money, are you in a situation where you're buying from a wholesaler who, comes in and stocks your shelves basically, and the margins aren't that good but you still should be making some money, right?
Well, they're better than the pharmacy margins.
Yeah. Depends on the vendor, absolutely.
Yeah. You're not losing any money on your front end.
Right.
Because you can mark your front end up however you want.
Right, because you're selling convenience.
Correct.
Yeah.
Legos, which people bought like crazy, and the margin on them were not that great. But it was
So why the fuck did you sell them?
Yeah.
You see this? This is like, this company is like one of my top sellers. It's like 3D wood puzzles.
Yeah, because you
Yeah.
get little old ladies who have to come in every month and they see that shit and they think about
Yeah.
it and they sell it. If they buy it and you sell it as a gift for somebody, right?
That's exactly it.
Yeah,
It's
So,
great if
but-
you can get a niche. If you
But
find
that comes
that
nowhere
niche,
near
it's
making
great
up
to kind of
for-
help
Well, no, but it
support
all
But
depends,
even if you
right?
get a niche,
Yeah.
all that's doing is subsidizing the losses.
No, I get that,
Yeah.
right? But my point that I'm going to make is when it's your company and you're running as fast as you can to keep up with the hard part of the business, you don't have time to optimize the easier part of the business.
That's
No.
right.
Right?
That's right.
You're not looking to see where the best price for Snickers is, right? You're using the
Right.
same wholesaler that comes
Yep.
and fills your shelves all the time. And they don't even tell you when the price of Snickers looks up. You just look at your invoices and say, okay, or they might say Snickers are going up, so you need to raise your price. Here's the new MSRP.
Yep.
So you got to raise your price. And then, little Johnny who came in with grandma, and wanted a Snickers bar doesn't know the difference anyways. Right. And so
Man, they could
That's what
charge
I try to
us.
sell my
They could
Snickers
charge
bars
us
to.
double for Snickers and everything else that we move out the door. It's not going to matter with what we lose on the back end.
No, but it does matter when you can optimize it, right? And you
Yeah.
can find a niche because it's hard to be a great retailer when you're just trying to be a great pharmacy because that's
Right.
a completely
Right.
different
Yeah, that's a
skill
good point.
set. And so
It is.
the point is, right? Are there? I'm sure there's people who are quote unquote consultants who help with front of house to help you optimize it and shit like that.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
most of them are
Yeah.
snakes in the fucking grass. I can tell you
Okay.
that.
Work for your wholesaler because that's what
they work for the
Yeah.
wholesaler. And
Yeah.
there's-
Okay. So put it. Yeah. So they're just selling their own shit. All right.
Right.
But so that might be another place where if you can free up 10 hours, and you say I'm taking 2 hours every week, just not only to walk the floor because you're always glancing, right? Is there traffic coming in? Are they buying?
Yeah.
You're going
Yeah.
to the register to see what the numbers is. You see at the end of the night because you have to deposit and you have you see what your credit card fees are and all that shit, right? But if you can take 2 hours to optimize it a week and increase that by another $250 a week.
TikTok. I go
Yeah.
into TikTok and I just start like looking up like what are the hottest trends, and then I'm going and I'm trying to bring something like that in, and then it's going.
But
on
that's the
social
type of thing,
media.
Brandy, where you take that college kid that you bring in to work 3 or 4 hours a week
Yeah.
or 5 hours a week,
Yeah.
and you just say, and then you put out in the newsletter, fuck the PBMs, but here's a great price on Snickers bars, and here's the new, right?
Yeah.
Those are the things, right? When you get
Yeah.
so caught up and just trying to keep your head above water with your primary business, you don't have time to do all the other things that you wish you could do that
Right.
would help out. But the reality is, you get so mad at the PBMs, they're not really your problem in a big respect. Right.
Right.
And that's counterintuitive.
I would
because-
disagree.
well, let me
majorly.
finish. Let me finish. Right? Are they fucking you over? Yes. Do they underpay you? Do they hit you with the DIR fees? Do they make life miserable with clients? Do they make it so that they're underpaying you and you have to make a decision whether to send it to CVS or keep it, particularly on GLP-1s? Yes. But
They're really not your problem.
well, the point is, right?
Yeah.
You can't change that tomorrow.
Right.
Right? There's things you can do. You have to do all the other things to optimize. And then when all that shit is running, like grease lightning, now you see where you're at. And it takes a lot of the stress of the fuck yous from the PBMs.
Yeah,
But Mark,
that's
think of
not
it
a new
as the
idea,
market
though.
pressure.
I mean,
Think of the market pressure. During COVID, when we got all the extra money from giving out vaccines and everything else, they used that time period to cut reimbursement. Anytime we get anything new
look.
across the industry, they will cut reimbursement. It
Yes,
doesn't
I get it.
matter. If
I
we
get
all
it.
figured it out all at once, it
But
doesn't
Jeremy,
matter.
you're missing my point. What I'm saying is you've got one business where there's just standing in the middle of your pharmacy, going up to your cash register and burning your $100 bills. Those are PBMs, right?
Yeah.
But you're not looking at the elf or the leprechaun that's in the front of the building, that's in a pot of not of gold, but of a little baby pot of gold, right?
Some bronze.
That has money there, right? Because you're so caught up with the PBMs, and they're fucking you, and you should be doing all these things. Don't get me wrong. That's why we're here. That's why we're talking. But with my Shark Tank hat on, what I'm telling you, don't ignore that one piece of gold in the front of the house. Don't ignore what happens with wholesalers and what you get hit on the GCRs because you want to that extra 1 or 2 points off of whack because you're afraid of under reimbursement, right?
Right.
If you look at, you can add all that shit up, right? You know exactly what it costs you and you deal with that every day. The question becomes, can you compensate for all that shit and then burning those $100 bills with all this other stuff? And if the answer is yes, why you can stay mad about the pricks at the PBMs, right? Prick benefit managers, I guess maybe.
Yeah.
I like that.
New name.
But you got to do the other blocking and tackling where you have more control. Right.
Yes, I agree, and that will help keep people afloat. But we still have to tackle the underlying problem.
Oh yeah, no,
Otherwise-
agreed. That's why we're having this conversation. That's why
Yes.
I'm telling you, go away from the big three wholesalers because they're the ones that are in business with Red Oak. They're the ones that are pushing the GCRs. You're right, so they can make more money on generics. Even though you make a little bit more money on generics, you don't make as much as you could.
Yeah.
And you need that extra because that one prescription that comes in. And on biosimilars, I don't think they count against your GCR right now because they're not officially considered generics as best I can tell, right?
Of course
and
not.
So, right. And so you can buy, Star Gems of the Stelara Biosim from Cost Plus Marketplace, right? And mark it up however much you fucking want and still save your clients money over what they're getting hit from their PBMs.
Hey, Mark, speaking of the pricks at the PBMs, can we talk about the Patrick Conway interview? Because that
Sure.
was amazing.
I had fun. Could you tell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it took
My
everything I
favorite-
had to not just every 2 minutes,
My favorite part was seeing your reactions to the things he was saying, and like it was mirroring exactly what my reactions were. And I was like, "Oh, he's gonna get that is amazing."
Yeah.
Well, I was like, if you could see my toes, right? My toes were clenched in my shoes, right? Just shut up, Mark. Listen. You can't talk the whole time, right? That'll destroy the impact. So you just got to listen and pick your spots.
I'm praying for being
Everything
a
he
slick
said
liar,
was
though. Oh, man.
demonstrably false.
Oh, yeah.
That's the worst part.
Right. And like
Everything was false.
I thought up until the last minute he was going to cancel. But the best part of
He
it
probably should have.
I
He
can't
went
believe
forward,
he went on stage with you.
Yeah.
I
What
couldn't
was he
either.
hoping to accomplish?
Well, the best part of it was, and I didn't watch the whole replay. Did they get to the part or show the part at the beginning where he talked about having his legal counsel in the audience?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I was
Where is
dying.
she? Where is she?
Yeah,
Point
I'm
her
like
out.
dying, and I never could pinpoint which one it was, but I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, you brought your fucking lawyer, right? If you have to bring your lawyer you probably should not be there.
Yes.
Well, after
Especially
that
against
hearing,
me.
how could he not?
Yeah.
Right,
Like they
especially
got
after-
grilled.
And, against me, I'm not going to pull any punches. I'm not going to be
No.
polite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Wow, that
says
was
something,
awesome.
you're like bullshit in his
Yeah.
face.
Bullshit. Yeah.
That was
Did
amazing.
he take you up on your offer to talk to any of his plans?
I have not
Yeah.
heard from him.
Oh, come on, Patrick, you can do it.
They did reach out to us about being in their network, though, so I'll give them credit there. But we haven't gotten terms because I don't want to be in their network and have them say, "Yeah, we have Cost Plus in our network," but not creating any opportunities for anybody to use us.
I'd like to know if the definition they're using for independent pharmacy it completely excludes pharmacies that use PSAOs. Like, and those are the stats.
He said no. He said no, right? And I saw the stuff where when someone did an analysis, they changed the pricing to for only 2% of the pharmacies, right? And I mentioned
But that was
that
for ones that
but
don't have
it-
PSAOs.
right? But he's the one. He said that it was about cost-based reimbursement, right? And it took me a second for it to dawn on me when he says cost plus reimbursement. His definition of cost
Yep.
isn't
Different,
our definition of actual
right.
cost, right?
Yep.
He's not thinking in like Snickers bars. It cost you $1.27 for a Snickers bar. He's thinking in terms of NADAC plus or minus, or AWP plus or minus, whatever, WAC minus, whatever. That is a cost-based price.
So when
Right.
he
Plus,
says
and
he's
plus
not
20
paying-
cents isn't good.
No,
so when he says he's not paying under cost, it's whatever cost he's making up, not the cost we're buying the drug for.
right,
Okay.
right.
It all comes down to the
That's-
formula.
Right.
he's
So
not
that's
lying.
what I tried to get it in there, and I'm like, and I said, no, there's just no way, right?
You tried,
And-
yeah.
Right. And but then it really hit me. I'm like, he's just making up, and I couldn't, I wasn't quick enough. I didn't have it right there to bring it up, to say to
Yeah.
people, to explain to people. But that's effectively what it is. They make up. So, when Chris, you're talking about where you're buying it and what your cost is and how it varies some, right?
Yeah.
And how it might be, a whack minus or whatever.
Yeah.
His reimbursement isn't relative to that. It's
Right.
relative to what benchmark they're using for costs.
That's right.
So
And they're
true.
all trying to get things to go to NADAC because they know they can fuck with NADAC.
Yeah.
Right. Like
Yep.
they did last year. Whenever like a big chain, sent in pricing.
Right. Or doesn't send it in, or right.
Yeah.
And your price,
Yeah.
your costs, are higher than their costs. And so they can reimburse lower. So if, the biggest chains of the 60,000 or whatever, and, they get whack minus, just to pick numbers out of the air, their cost of a drug, let's just say, is $200 and your cost is $220. Well,
Yeah.
if there's more people who have a $200 cost, that means your NADAC is going to be under your cost of $220.
Right.
So they're reimbursing NADAC because they know that NADAC's an average, and the way averages work, if there's more big pharmacies paying less, you guys are fucked.
Well, and it's voluntary for now, right?
Yeah, even if they
Then
change
we can
that,
see-
it won't matter. NADAC works against you.
Well, listen, it's not that hard to do your own contracting. I did it, and I thought I needed like some high level degree. It's like the simplest thing in the world.
Yeah, especially now
honestly.
with ChatGPT. Literally, whenever I get a
Right.
copy of somebody's PBM or wholesaler or insurance contract, I plug it into ChatGPT and say, "Where are they fucking me?"
Yeah,
Okay.
We do that with everything
good.
else.
It's good at that.
Yeah, you should take every contract that you get for everything and just say, "Give me a detailed summary and identify any issues I should be aware of."
I love it.
All
I
of
love
them.
it. One really quick question.
Sure.
So, have you looked at the new bill that was introduced that makes PBMs fiduciaries?
Yeah, and in California, that already got passed, right?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure, but I think so. But yeah, I mean, they're just going to change how they structure things so that it's fees, and they'll hide fees. So they're already going away from rebates from
Yeah.
plan sponsors.
Fees are the new rebates.
Right.
Yeah.
Fees are like rebates, right?
Fees are the new rebates.
Yeah. And so, and when I look at employer contracts with PBMs, literally like, in that Hunter Walk thing that just came out, I started to read one of the paragraphs from a PBM contract. And one of the things it says specifically is, we will charge manufacturers fees and we will not reimburse those fees back to you, the plan sponsor, right? And those fees keep on going up, and the
Whatever they
rebates.
want.
Yep. And,
Here's the
because-
thing. Here's the thing. Every time they get figured out, okay, so we figure out what they're doing when it comes to rebate dollars. They shifted it over to the GPOs. What are they going to do next? We're getting better about like being on top of it because we have more data, we have more analysis. What are they going to shift to next to
So
retain
here's
those
what they
rebate
do.
dollars?
Here's what they do, and you don't even realize it, and it's near impossible, right? All of them are owned by insurance companies,
Right.
Yeah, of
Right.
course.
Yeah.
and you don't have a PBM unless you have an insurance policy,
Right.
right? Unless you have an
That's right.
insurance plan, you don't have a PBM, right? There's no
right.
reason to. And so they start pushing things over. So they played a bunch of different games. They'll push things into the insurance side of things. They'll push things into the medical side of things like J-code or whatever, right? They'll push things so that they'll charge wherever they can charge their own PBMs more money or more fees right? That they in turn say is an insurance fee that they then charge to the plan sponsor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you've got intercompany eliminations
I was
to
going to say
game
the same thing.
medical
Yeah.
loss ratios.
Right.
Like,
No, for sure.
at
They
what
game that for
point?
sure.
Yeah.
I got a question for you, Mark.
Uh-huh.
So you own a pharmacy, Cost Plus Drugs, right? Have you ever done worked a day in the pharmacy part?
We don't
Like
have,
an
actually, we
like
are.
an undercover boss.
No,
kind
I
of
have
thing?
not. I have not
No?
worked a day in a
Oh.
pharmacy. No.
Oh,
We
okay.
need to make that
You should.
happen.
Yeah.
You should. So you can
We
understand.
can
My
make
pharmacy.
If you did, you wouldn't have asked why people are reluctant to switch software vendors.
No, I get it.
Talk
Yeah.
about
No, I
complaints
get
from
that
your
completely.
text.
No, let me just tell you, I wrote software. I wrote software for 8 years, and I installed software in retail locations a lot. And let me just tell you, when shit hit the fan, that's where the money is, and you got patients waiting in line, and nobody wants to wait, and your technicians don't have enough hours in the day because they have to get on to the next one, and they just had a shipment come in from the wholesalers, and they got to divvy them up into, from 1,000 in a bottle or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
I get it, right? I get how frantic and how hard it is. But I also know that dealing with frantic and hard is better than going out of business.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just think it'd be good
So-
if we got a mustache on you.
No, hey, when I got to the NBA, when I
My
got to-
pharmacy's like a half hour from you.
Yeah.
We can totally make
I'll get
it
up there,
happen.
There it
Brandy.
is.
Hey, when I got
there
into
it is.
the
Go see
NBA,
Brandy for a day.
One of the first times I got fined by the NBA was for saying the guy who ran the officiating couldn't manage a Dairy Queen. So some local Dairy Queen in North Texas called me up and said, "Hey, I own a Dairy Queen. Why don't you come up and work for a day?" I'm like, "Cool, I love Dairy Queen. As long as I get all the blizzards I
Can
can."
I get an ice cream? Yeah.
And so I went up there, got there at 6:30 in the morning so they could train me. Like when you do the soft serve, it's like 9-1-7, and you do da-da-da-da-da. But this guy was so smart. The guy that owned the Dairy Queen, he called up every media outlet in the
Yep.
world.
Oh,
And
that's
so
a no-brainer.
by the
Yeah.
time people showed up, there were helicopters taking video. They had Katie Couric on the phone on the Today Show asking me, giving me shit. Why was I cutting on NBA refs, and why was I so cruel? I'm like, and this is before anybody really knew who I was, right? This is right when I bought the math.
How are you supposed to work?
But I'm thinking to myself, Katie Couric is giving me shit about NBA refs. I'm thinking this is pretty cool, And I had all these video cameras watching me try to make Google Mark Cuban Dairy Queen, and it was back in like 2001.
How have
It
I
was-
not heard of this?
Yeah.
Oh, it was a big deal. You're too young, right?
All right.
25
We're
years ago.
throwing down the putt gauntlet. You got to have a day in the pharmacy.
New plan, not Brandy's pharmacy, my pharmacy. It's my
No, Lubbock. Come to Lubbock.
Really quickly, I want to say thank you. This has been fantastic.
It's been fun. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Let's do it again, in 6 months or so, and let's see what's been happening, where things have moved and
So
some
we
of the
do it
legislation.
again. I'm not doing it unless a couple of you guys have hired somebody to do that agentic stuff, so we can talk
Okay.
about it, right?
All right.
Unless you guys have done all the math on moving away from the big three and started talking about putting together your own GPO or PSA or whatever you want to call it.
All right.
And I'll help you negotiate with Morris Dixon. I'll help.
Let's
You
do
are
it.
good at this business stuff, Mark.
Let's
Good
do it.
stuff. Good for you.
And
Okay.
on the software, what was
you
it
don't
called?
get to come back on unless you have a
Write
day
it
in the
down.
pharmacy.
Right. No, because then there'll be like
Wait,
dead
it's-
patients everywhere. They'll be like, Mark Cuban's
Yeah,
in jail for killing people.
All right.
And then the last one is
Listen.
on the software. Come up with
All
like
right.
a third-party software, and because if you guys can get enough people to move, right,
Yeah.
or to at
Yeah.
least to transition some,
Data
they're
scan.
they're gonna kiss your ass, right?
Data scan all the way.
And if I have to invest
We don't need
in
our
data
asses kissed, Mark. We just want PPM reform.
Hey, we'll introduce you to data
Well,
scan. You'll
this
love
is-
it.
Yeah.
this
They're
is the
great.
step, right? This is the step.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you get away
right.
from those wholesalers, you send a message to the manufacturers. And
Yep.
when you're able to now build up some time so you can go into the local employers, you send a real message to the PBMs because now they're just trying to push you out of business. What was it David Joyner said? I don't care if they go out of business. That's not my
Yeah,
problem.
we have
Whatever.
too many anyway.
Yeah, we have too many anyway. But if you're going to their customers and you're showing them how to buy for less and to save
Yep.
money, and why, particularly if they have 500 members, 1,000 members, and they don't need a PBM at all. Just you work through your pharmacies or whatever. That's how you win.
Damn.
That's
Damn,
how you
baby.
win.
Yeah, I want to win.
Just win,
Yeah.
baby.
I want to win.
Yeah, I'm tired
I
of
want you guys to win. I want you guys. That's why a Team Cuban card, it's $12 reimbursement. We know we're not going to get a ton of business, particularly on the low dollar ones. No one's paying $17 for something they can buy for $5, right?
True.
Yeah.
And on the biosims in particular, because our Cost Plus marketplace has got good pricing there, and we're adding more stuff like that for the higher dollar stuff, that's where the $12 doesn't, stop somebody from buying. And
Yeah.
more and more and more. And we're updating the software. It's going to take a while, so that when you go to costplusdrugs.com, if you choose local delivery, it'll look for a local pharmacy. So instead of always being mail order, or going to Team Cuban card, one or the other, we're going to get to the point where you can pick local delivery and put in your zip code, and it'll point out one of you guys.
To learn more about Pharmacists United for Truth and Transparency and how you can help fight PBM abuse of our healthcare system, visit our website at truthrx.org.